Su Ying's fair hands approached Elder Lan's rear with a calm expression on his face, seemingly unaffected by the situation, as though he was used to it. A second later, he lifts her robes, revealing her snow-white buttocks, silky red undergarment, and her long, smooth legs. Her butt was round, perky and smooth-looking, like two pieces of beautiful pearl next to each other. Even in his previous life, Su Ying has not seen many maidens with buttocks as beautiful and flawless as Elder Lan's. He gently caressed it as though it was a fragile treasure. The moment Su Ying's finger touched the surface of Elder Lan's jade-like skin, her body trembled. He then pushed all 10 of his fingers deep into her soft butt cheeks, sending a shock of pleasure through her body. Hilda! Elder Lan unintentionally moaned from the sudden pleasure amidst her immense pain. She wasn't in the right mind to pay attention to what Su Ying was doing behind her, but whatever it was, she wanted more. Su Ying continued to massage her butt, and the way he massaged it made it look as though he was kneading bread, each movement made with flawless precision. Elder Lan's pain gradually subdued, and pleasure quickly overwhelmed her. Ah! More! Her body began feeling lust for the first time, and she unconsciously pleaded for more. Her black eyes flickered like the stars in a night sky, and a dark spot appeared in the middle of her red undergarment between her legs, gradually growing larger and darker. Her bottom lips suddenly felt a tingling sensation, and her body began trembling even harder. Elder Lan felt fear and nervousness. She knew that this pleasure would soon consume her body and soul, yet she didn't tell Su Ying to stop. Something is coming. She suddenly felt an urge to pee. It was at this moment Su Ying slid a finger underneath her underwear, touching the most sensitive part of her body, the clitoris. The moment his finger touched her little pink jewel, Elder Lan felt as though her body was struck by lightning, temporarily shutting down her mind and body for an instant. And in that instant, the dam blocking the water within her body was released, causing a flow of sparkling water to gush out like a fountain. Elder Lan, for the first time in her life, has finally experienced an orgasm. Su Ying retrieved his hand that was soaking wet from Elder Lan's virgin juice from under her robe and casually dried it with his own robe. Since the yin within your body was unstable, the only other option was to have your body release them. Su Ying said to Elder Lan, who was laying on the cold floor, her body still twitching from the aftermath, and he continued, I will also give you a prescription later on. Be sure to take it every day or the pain will return before our next treatment. Elder Lan did not reply to him. She was too busy trying to breathe properly. The inside of her mind was chaotic, it was as though 1,000 beasts were rampaging within. Su Ying did not bother her and went to wash his hands. Afterward, he took out a pen and paper and began writing a prescription for her. By the time he was done, Elder Lan had only just calmed down. Mentally, she propelled herself off the floor and glared at Su Ying with killing intent. Her face beat red like a tomato. Time passed extremely slowly at this moment. It felt as though time had stopped for Elder Lan. Never in her life would she have imagined that her body would be played around in such a fashion by a mere outer court disciple. Just thinking about the shameless expressions she made and how vulgar she acted during the treatment was enough for her to want to kill herself. Furthermore, the fact that she enjoyed it immensely only made her feel worse. Here's your prescription, don't forget to take it. Su Ying handed a piece of paper to her. Seeing how Elder Lan sat there like a stone statue, Su Ying sighed. Don't think too much about it, it was just treatment for your illness. Just act as though nothing happened. Act as though nothing happened. Do you think I can do something like that? Elder Lan suddenly shouted, causing Su Ying to lift an eyebrow. My body is now dirty from your hands. All the efforts that I have spent into keeping it pure are now worthless. Not to mention you are only a mere outer court disciple and I am a sect elder. How are you going to take responsibility? Dirty? Su Ying suddenly frowned. How ungrateful. even after all the efforts that I had put into saving you from your misery. Do you have any idea how many women in this world would die to have their body touched by me? HMPH. Get out. He coldly snorted, feeling enraged for the first time since his rebirth. Elder Lan's expression froze after seeing the cold look on Su Ying's usually calm face, and a feeling of fear appeared in her heart. Elder Lan suddenly bit her lips. She then forced herself to stand up, and despite having no strength remaining in her legs, she managed to walk herself out the door. After stumbling and falling a few times on the way there. After Elder Lan's figure disappeared from his sight, Su Ying collapsed on the bed with an exhausted expression. Really? An ungrateful woman. He smiled bitterly before slowly falling asleep. It took all of Elder Lan's energy and effort to walk back to her living quarters. Her legs would give up every so often, and the tingling sensation around her bottom lips has yet to subdue, causing slight water to flow out with every step she took. When the disciples saw her, they believed that she was extremely drunk. When she finally arrived at her living quarters, she noticed the little girl dozing off by the door. Chiyu. Elder Lan's mood became better at the sight of her cute face. Sister Lan. You are back. Chiyu finally noticed her approaching figure and quickly stood up. How did it go? Were you able to meet with Senior Apprentice Brother Su? She mentioned the one name Elder Lan didn't want to hear at this moment. I found him. She sighed. Then was he able to help you? Despite not wanting to answer her question, Elder Lan bit her lips and slowly nodded. Then why are you walking like that? Oh. Chiyu quickly realized how stupid her question was. How could she not recognize Elder Lan's sloppy movements when she, herself, had gone through the same ordeal? Elder Lan frowned when she noticed Chiyu blushing. Why would she be blushing? Suddenly, Elder Lan recalled the night Chiyu came to her house when she spoke of Su Ying. She remembered very clearly the way Chiyu walked around with her tofu legs, almost as though she had experienced something that absorbed all the strength in her. No. No way. Did Su Ying also touch you? Elder Lan covered her mouth with shock, not daring to believe her thoughts. Chiyu misunderstood the meaning behind Elder Lan's question and nodded sheepishly. That bastard Su Ying. Forget about me, how dare he touch someone as young Chiyu? She is only 12. Elder Lan cursed at him inwardly. I'll kill him. I will definitely kill that pervert. She growled in a low voice. Chiyu looked at her with a shocked expression. Sister Lan? And you, Chiyu? The sect forbids those under the age of 16 to indulge in any sexual practices no matter how minor that action may be. You think I will turn a blind eye to it just because of our relationship? Chiyu blinked a few times in quick succession, looking a bit dazed at Elder Lan's frowning face. What does Sister Lan by that? She asked in an innocent voice. You are still acting ignorant now. You just said it yourself, that Su Ying had touched you. Ah. Chiyu finally comprehended the situation and flustered. You're wrong. Senior Apprentice Brother Su did not do anything of that sorts to me. He only sucked the poison out of my legs after loosening up my muscle. Elder Lan's expression froze at her words. What? But Senior Apprentice Brother Su is not a pervert. He only did what he had to in order to treat my legs. Chiyu said in a slightly angry tone. Even if it was her beloved elder sister, she cannot stay calm when someone bad-mouths the one who saved her life. It was a first even for her to see Chiyu get so emotional for someone she just met. And the image of Su Ying's cold expression appeared in her head, causing a stir within her heart. He only did he had to in order to save her. Elder Lan looked down at her body. There was no pain. Only pleasure. If he wanted to, he could have taken advantage of me during my state of vulnerability, even taking my chastity, yet he didn't do such a thing. Elder Lan was sure that during the heat of the moment, she would not have refused Su Ying if he wanted to take things one, even 2 or 3 steps further. she began regretting the harsh words she said to him. Not to mention she was the one who approached him for help and not the other way around. I took the shame I had for myself upon him as anger and offended him. Ah. I am really stupid. Elderland sighed deeply. She was ashamed of herself when she realized what had happened during the treatment, how she was acting like a dog in heat. The lustful expression on her face, the vulgar words that came out of her mouth, the way her body desired more, everything she acted upon during Su Ying's treatment had caused her to be ashamed of herself. Sister Lan? Chiyu looked at Elder Lan's disheartened face with a worried look. You are right, Chiyu. I apologize for speaking rudely about Su Ying. He did save your life, after all. Not to mention my butt. She showed her a gentle smile. After staying with Chiyu for a little longer, the two departed. When she returned to her room, Elder Lan undressed and went directly to clean herself. Inside the bath, she stared at her naked body, seemingly dazed. She was recalling the time she spent inside Su Ying's room, remembering the way he touched her body and the immense pleasure she felt between her legs during her discharge. Her fair hands suddenly approached her bottom lips, and she began caressing the little pink jewel inside the lips. Elder Lan wasn't sure why she was doing this, but her hands moved continuously, trying to replicate the heavenly sensation she felt before. However, no matter how much she rubbed or touched herself, the feeling was just vastly different from how she felt when her body was being taken care of by Su Ying. There was something fundamentally different from the way it touched her and the way she touched herself. It was as though her body was not satisfied with her own hands and only wanted Su Ying. Ha! Elder Lan left the bath sighing, feeling ashamed of her own actions. It was already midnight by the time Su Ying woke up. The first thing he did when opening his eyes was to cultivate. He sat cross-legged on his bed, and a profound aura surrounded him. His hands suddenly glowed a faint blue. He was cultivating the yin he collected from Elder Lan's holy water. Although the amount was pitiful, it was enough to benefit his cultivation base greatly. Virgins are really the best. Su Ying silently absorbed the yin in his hands, his cultivation base soaring with every second. The quality of yin or yang obtained from those who are pure and those who are not is like comparing heaven and earth, hence why pure maidens are valued far more in this world. Su Ying suddenly snapped his eyes and countless flickering lights glowed within. He had a breakthrough, reaching the 5th level of elementary spirit realm. As for the progress on his physique, it had barely moved. That was the difference between chi refiners and body refiners. Every 100 steps a chi refiner takes, a body refiner would have taken only 10. Su Ying looked at the moon through the windows, feeling melancholy. The sight of the moon caused the image of a peerless beauty, who was known as the goddess of the moon in his past life, to appear in his thoughts. And for the remainder of the night, he stared at the moon, recalling the exciting experiences of his past life. Elder Lan woke up early in the morning. After dealing with the necessities, she went directly to Su Ying's living quarters. Elder Lan. Tang Hu greeted her at the door again. Su Ying. Is he inside? Yes, Elder. Su Ying is still inside. I will go get him for you right this moment. Wait. Eh? I can get him myself. Tang Hu watched Elder Lan viciously knock on Su Ying's door with a worried face. To offend someone as highly respected as Elder Lan, Su Ying's life as a disciple in this sect is already considered over. Elder Lan. Time sure passes by quickly. Is it already time for our next appointment? Su Ying walked out of his room with a beaming smile, and whatever Elder Lan had prepared in her mind disappeared like smoke the moment she saw his face. She then recalled the time she spent here yesterday, and her face flushed red. Elder Lan could feel her heart beating erratically, like war drums. This is the first time she's been so flustered at the sight of someone, let alone a man. Not to mention her image of Su Ying had changed dramatically overnight, and he seemed much more charming and handsome than yesterday. Even the core of her body trembled, It was as though her body could sense Su Ying's presence nearby, wishing to get closer. You. Elder Lan was speechless. Although she came here with a purpose, the moment she saw Su Ying, everything in her mind blinked as though it was consumed by an invisible black hole. Here, you left swiftly yesterday and forgot to bring this with you. Su Ying handed her the paper with her prescription on it. Elder Lan instinctively accepted the paper with stiff movements, her eyes still glued to Su Ying's face. Why? Why are you doing this? She suddenly mumbled. Despite all the harsh things I said to you, you're still willing to help me? Her words wiped the smile off Su Ying's face. He looked at her with a calm expression, his gaze flickering with a profound light. Because I am a man. Su Ying's simple sentence threw both Elder Lan and Tang Hu off their feet. What kind of answer was that? Because he is a man? I am a man of my words. You asked me for help and I gave you my word that I will help you. That's the only reason I need to help you. His words left Elder Lan speechless. Are you not satisfied with my answer? After a moment, Elder Lan sighed. No, that's more than enough. She turned around and walked towards the door. I will also keep my words and fulfill the conditions, she said to him before leaving with a bitter smile. Su Ying, what's your relationship with Elder Lan? Tang Hu asked after she left. Their interaction gave him many questions with little answers, and he was curious. Just a customer of mine. Su Ying said casually. See customer? Tang Hu became even more puzzled. What kind of customer and for what service? However, he decided not to probe their relationship any further. He had a feeling that if he did, he would surely regret it. Su Ying left the house shortly after Elder Lan disappeared. There was only one place he would go so early in the morning, the training grounds. However, he brought with him a new sign, one that read Heavenly Massage. Experience 10 minutes of heaven at the low cost of 10 premium points. The sign caused many odd expressions to stare at him. Getting 10 premium points would require the completion of a low-rank mission that may take days to finish, yet Su Ying wanted to charge someone that much for a mere massage that was obviously exaggerated? Su Ying. There's a limit to how shameless you can be. 10 premium points for some shitty massage. That's robbery in daylight. I wouldn't even let you touch me for free, let alone pay 10 premium points. The training grounds suddenly became lively with Su Ying's presence. Everybody there laughed at him and his sign, yet they were also secretly surprised. If they recalled it correctly, Su Ying's first sign stated that the first 3 would be free. Now that he's actually charging them, does this mean there were actually 3 idiots who were willing to trust him with their body? Su Ying stood there for the entire morning without a single customer. The training ground was quiet again with the disciple bored of talking about Su Ying. However, the moment the sunset arrived, a group of 10 disciples appeared near the gate, seemingly looking for someone. Because everybody within that group was a beauty, they quickly caught the attention of the disciples training there. Why are the people from the medicine hall doing here? Is someone hurt? Some disciples there recognized their red and white robes. One of the beauties suddenly noticed Su Ying and his sign, alerting the rest of the group. Everybody there watched as the group approached Su Ying, their gaze filled with curiosity. Are you Su Ying? Asked the beauty leading the group. I am. Great. I have heard great praises about your massage service from our master. She advised us to come here and experience it for ourselves. I hope you do not mind the number of people I brought here today. Su Ying smiled and said, the more the merrier. However, before I accept you, there are 3 conditions you must accept. We are already aware of the conditions, but feel free to refresh our memories. Condition 1. The session will only last for 10 minutes. Condition 2, you must share your experience after the massage with 10 people. Condition 3, you are only allowed to come back 1 month after your last massage session. The beauty nodded, Our junior apprentice sister said the same, and we agree to your conditions. Then follow me. Su Yang packed the sign and left the training ground. The disciples there watched with disbelief in their eyes as Su Yang led the group of beauties from the medicine hall away from the training ground. Su Yang. What is going on? Tang Hu's jaw dropped to the floor when Su Yang returned with a group of 10 beauties. How did he manage to gather so many beauties at once, even convincing them to follow him home? Since when did he become such a playboy? They are my customers. Su Yang said with a nonchalant expression. Customers? Again? Tang Hu wondered if they are the same type of customer as Elder Lan. What on earth has Su Yang been doing for the past few days? After Su Yang finished with his preparations, he invited the girls into his room one at a time while the rest waited outside in the living room. When the doors to Su Yang's room closed, the girls waiting outside began talking. Master guaranteed us that he is trustworthy, but I don't feel comfortable being here, said one of the girls. Hey, you're Su Yang's roommate, right? Tell us about him. The girls looked at Tang Hu, who was nervously standing by the wall and observing them. Eh? Although we are roommates, we never had any real conversation, so even I don't know much about him. However, he always has this mysterious feeling surrounding him. I can never tell what he's thinking or comprehend his actions. A mysterious man, huh? Sounds kind of sexy, don't you girls think so, too? Well, if only there weren't so many negative rumors about him. Senior apprentice sisters are from the medicine hall, correct? What are you all doing here with Su Yang? He called senior's apprentice sisters his customers? You don't know about his massage service? The girls looked at him oddly. Are they really roommates? They seem to know nothing about each other. Massage service? Tang Hu looked at them with wide eyes filled with disbelief. You are all here for a massage from Su Yang? They nodded, confirming his doubt. We had a bet with our master. She said that if we can walk out of here, after receiving a massage from Su Yang, without stumbling once, then she will give each of us a profound yin pill. Profound yin pill? The valuable pill that greatly enhances the yin in females? Tang Hu was shocked. Why would someone wager such an expensive resource? Not to mention 10 at once. Your master. Tang Hu recalled Su Yang calling Elder Lan his customer. Is it Elder Lan? They nodded. Although we do not know why Master made such a bet with us, this bet will surely be a piece of cake to win. He. We all get a profound yin pill after a massage. Perhaps this is her way of rewarding us for our hard work. One profound yin pill will cost us 3,000 premium points at the White Pearl Treasury, yet we only need to pay 10 premium points to get our hands on one. This is too easy. The group of beauties laughed, sounding like a group of birds singing. Suddenly, the door to Su Yang's room opened, and Su Yang walked out calmly. Oh? Has it been 10 minutes already? Yes, who is next? Su Yang said to them calmly. Huh? What about senior apprentice sister Zhuan? The girls asked about the girl who went inside first. She is having trouble moving, said Su Yang in a nonchalant tone, and he continued, and she asked me to allow her to stay inside for a little bit longer. The girls looked at him with confused faces. Why is she having trouble moving? Is she okay? One of them asked in a worried tone. You don't have to worry, she'll be fine, her body is just a little bit sensitive after the massage. So? Who's next? None of the girls there were able to see anything out of the ordinary from Su Yang's calm face, so they did not ask any more questions. A little later, the second girl walked into his room, and the first thing she noticed after entering was senior apprentice sister Zhuan, who was breathing heavily as she was struggling to get off the bed, her face red like a tomato. Senior apprentice sister Zhuan? Are you okay? The girl quickly went to support her, but Zhuan pushed her away and said, Don't touch me. You will only make this worse. Senior Apprentice Sister? I am fine. My body is just a little sensitive, said Juan as she looked at Su Ying with flickering eyes, her face reddening even more. Su Ying smiled at her, and he turned to the second girl. Come on the bed, we will begin right away. The girl looked at him and the wrinkled bed with hesitation in her eyes. She had a feeling that if she were to lay on that bed, then she may never live her life in the same light again. Junior Apprentice Sister, you go ahead and lay on the bed. You won't regret it, Juan said to her with a gentle smile that was also a malicious grin. She wanted her fellow apprentice sister to experience what she had just moments ago, because when more people share the same experience, her embarrassment would also lessen. Encouraged by her senior apprentice sister, whom she trusted greatly, Disciple Yu decided to throw away her hesitation and laid on the bed that still lingered with Juan's body fragrance. Then, let us begin, Su Ying said to her. Seconds later, the room echoed with a pleasant-sounding moan that wouldn't end until 10 minutes later. Disciple Juan, who was sitting by the corner trying to recover her strength, stared at Su Ying with wide eyes, seemingly mesmerized by his graceful movements and calm face. How could he be so calm in such a situation? He looked as though he was playing an instrument, the girl on his bed being the instrument. That was how he was also touching my body? Juan's body heated up just from watching Su Ying massage her junior apprentice sister. As for Disciple Yu, who was aware of her senior apprentice sister who was also in the same room as her, paid no attention to Juan's presence and continued to moan crazily without any restraint. Did I also make similar shameful faces and let out such vulgar noises while being touched by him? Juan covered her mouth from shock. And the more she watched her junior apprentice sister enjoy herself, the more her lower body trembled. 10 minutes passed by within the blink of an eye. Su Ying stopped his movements and walked away from the bed while Yu tried to return to earth from heaven. Her mind has yet to catch up to the present and was still feeling Su Ying's fingers touching her body. Juan, who had her mouth covered for the entire duration, finally removed her hands from her mouth that was still wide open from shock. In her mind, she came to a realization that the wager Elderland made with them has suddenly turned into a bet that was impossible for them to win. However, between the profound yin pill and Su Ying's heavenly massage, it was a win-win situation for them, so she wasn't too dejected from losing out on the profound yin pill. As a matter of fact, she would even willingly trade a profound yin pill just to feel Su Ying's hands touching her body for 10 more minutes. A few minutes later, the door to Su Ying's room opened. Who's next? Su Ying asked calmly to the puzzled stares directed at him. What happened to junior apprentice sister Yu? What about senior apprentice sister Juan? They questioned him with suspicion in their eyes. Nothing happened to us. Juan walked out of the room with her face still flushed red. Senior apprentice sister Juan. Junior apprentice sister Yu cannot move properly at the moment and asked to stay inside for a bit longer, said Juan, trying her best not to blush. Again? The girls looked at Su Ying and the room with a wary expression. I will be next. One of the girls suddenly stood up and approached Su Ying, her face showing a determined expression. When Su Ying and the third girl disappeared into the room, Juan fell to the floor in an exaggerated manner. Senior apprentice sister Juan? The girls cried out in shock, and they all ran to assist her. After sitting down on a chair, Juan said with a shy smile, I am fine. My legs are still too sensitive to be walking around. Then she continued, do you all recall the bet Master made with us? That if we can walk out of this room without stumbling, then she will give us a profound yin pill? The girls nodded. Forget about the bet and just enjoy yourselves? What are you saying, senior apprentice sister Juan? I mean, Master made that bet with us knowing that it would be impossible for her to lose. What? The girls exclaimed loudly. How is that even possible? What happened in there? Was the massage that good? Zhuan smiled bitterly and said, I experienced heaven inside, and I almost didn't want to return. The jaws of everyone there dropped to the ground, especially Tang Hu. Inside the room, the new girl looked at Disciple Yu, who was sitting by the corner and staring back at her, with a dumbfounded expression. Junior apprentice Sister Yu? What are you doing there in the corner? Yu remained silent, seemingly too embarrassed to answer her. The girl turned to look at Su Ying with narrowed eyes and asked, What did you do to her? My job, he replied in a calm manner. Senior apprentice Sister Shang. Su Ying did nothing wrong. Please believe him. Yu finally said in a low voice, and she continued, My body is just a little bit sensitive from the massage, so I will be resting here for a moment. Shang frowned and said, Why does it have to be in here? Why can't you rest outside? Yu blushed at her question. Because. Senior apprentice Sister Zhuan also did the same. She said in an even lower voice. What are you? Sorry to interrupt you, but I have a line of customers waiting outside, said Su Ying. If you do not mind, please lay on the bed so we can get started. Shang looked at him in silence for a moment and snorted, HMPH. I shall see for myself what you have up your sleeves. She laid on the bed and waited for Su Ying to begin, her gaze staring at Yu, who seemed worried with an expression saying, Do you really want to look at me during the treatment? Moments later, Shang regretted looking at Yu the second Su Ying began his treatment. Her eyes rolled up, and a loud moan unintentionally escaped from her mouth. When Yu witnessed Shang's vulgar face, her head exploded in red. She could not help but recall herself being in the same shoe just minutes ago. It was as though she was watching herself instead. This is what Senior Apprentice Sister Zhuan saw when watching me? She wanted to cry but no tears came out. Yu wasn't sure how loud she was moaning during the treatment, but she figured that it must have been pretty loud since she didn't hold back. I cannot look at Senior Apprentice Sister Zhuan in the face ever again or I will die from shame. More. More. Touch me more, Daddy. Yu's eyes popped out of its sockets when Shang addressed Su Ying as her daddy. Even Su Ying couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. The last time someone called him daddy, he was nearly kidnapped and imprisoned to be a sex slave for the girl. However, Shang didn't seem to be aware of what she just said and continued moaning, shocking Yu even further. Did I also say something that embarrassing? I don't remember. I can't remember anything. While panicking, Yu continued watching her senior apprentice Sister Shang scream in pleasure, her body trembling at every moan, and the image of her senior apprentice Sister Shang, whom she held with high regards and respected greatly, would only slowly shatter in her mind the longer she watched. However, despite all the embarrassment she was experiencing, Yu couldn't help but continue staring with unblinking eyes. It was as though she was mesmerized by the heavenly scene. I want to switch places. She sighed some moments later. Shang stared at Su Ying with fierce eyes, her hands covering her body in a protective manner. The situation looked as though Su Ying had assaulted her both physically and mentally. What? Do you want me to acknowledge you as my daughter? Su Ying smiled, causing Shang's blood to boil from embarrassment. I will remember this. Shang mumbled in a low voice, her gaze staring daggers at Su Ying. I'm sure you will, Su Ying shrugged at her words. He has heard the same words too many times in his previous life. Yu wiped the drool from the corner of her lips and thought to herself, he managed to make all three of us experience heaven without touching any inappropriate spots. If he did, would we experience an even higher heaven? Yu suddenly desired to feel Su Ying's hands caressing her bottom lips, perhaps even exploring directly inside her pink world. Sometime later, Yu and Shang walked out of Su Ying's room, both looking exhausted. Senior Apprentice Sister Shang. Junior Apprentice Sister Yu. Are you okay? The girls outside went to assist them. Master. She had us all fooled. Getting that profound yin pill is simply impossible. Shang sighed, dumbfounding the girls. And she continued, I knew it sounded too good to be true. For us to obtain profound yin pills so easily, but this is simply bullying. Everyone there except Juan and you looked dazed, seemingly unable to comprehend her words. How could a mere massage seem so frightening? Next. Su Ying's calm voice caused the girls' hearts to skip a beat. None of them dared to step forth, afraid of the result. If there is nobody else, then... Wait. I am next. I don't believe that I will lose to someone like you. Junior apprentice Sister Ming. The girls looked at their youngest with surprise. Very well. Follow me. Su Ying and Ming disappeared into the room. 10 minutes later, the door finally opens. Junior apprentice Sister Ming? The girls cried loudly, looking shocked when Ming crawled out from the room with tears in her eyes. Her body was so sensitive that even something as simple as standing was deemed impossible after one try. Anyone else? Su Ying glanced at the remaining girls, sending chills down their spines. Never in their dreams would these girls even imagine that they would one day encounter a situation this horrifying yet tempting at the same time. The girls no longer saw this situation as a bet but more of a challenge from Su Ying, who was saying with his smile, You think you can resist my techniques? Come. I dare you. I am next. Another girl walked forward, and they entered the room. 10 minutes later, the girl comes out with messy hair and a reddened face. The hope in the girl's eyes dimmed with every defeat. Their chances of getting the profound yin pill was looking grimmer and more impossible. However, despite that, they all dared to challenge Su Ying. None of them were willing to lose face by admitting defeat to some kid who was years behind them in age and experience. But alas, the moment Su Ying executed his techniques, the girls all surrendered their bodies, even pleading for more. Soon, only one girl who has yet to experience the massage remained. Senior apprentice Sister Zhou. It is your turn. Junior apprentice Sister Zhou. You are the only one who hasn't. Disciple Zhou looked at her fellow sisters with a horrified expression. But I already have a partner. I cannot allow another man to. Zhou tried to excuse herself out of this one, but her sisters sneered. HMPH. We all have our own partners, too. It's not like he's doing anything vulgar. It's just a normal massage. Which part of this is normal? Look at all of you laying on the floor. Look into the mirror and see the expression you are all making. Not even the roughest dual cultivation could possibly make all of you look this shameful. What happened to your elegance? Zhou still refused. Just a glance at Su Ying standing by his room caused her to tremble. Standing there, Su Ying looked like the devil, and the entrance to the room was the door to hell, a place that will consume one's soul. I will not force anyone that does not want my service, Su Ying said. If that is all, then we are done here. The girls looked at Zhou with pity in their gaze. She has no idea what she'd just missed out on and will surely regret her decision one day. Su Ying. Disciple Yu suddenly called for him, her face showing signs of shyness. What is it? He turned to look at her. If you ever need help, you can come to me, Yu Yan, for advice. Although I am only an outer court disciple, as someone from the medicine hall, I have many connections within the sect. So if you ever need something, you can come to me. How sly. The other girls looked at her with wide eyes. None of the sisters there could have imagined that the youngest amongst them would actually take the lead. Su Ying. My name is Zhuan Jinglin. I will also be available if you need anything. You can find me in the medicine hall or even at my living quarters. I am Jia Bayu. I can also. The girls began fighting each other for the chance to introduce themselves to Su Ying, dumbfounding Zhou, and Tang who has been standing there like a dumb chicken since the beginning. Acting like a bunch of horny dogs. This is all because of Su Ying. Zhou couldn't bear to watch her fellow apprentice sisters shatter their images anymore, so she turned and left the place. When Zhou left, the others sighed. Although a bit exaggerated, they believe that their reactions are justified. The commotion quickly subdued, and when the girls prepared to leave, Su Ying reminded them, "Don't forget your words. Let alone 10 people, I shall spread your service to everyone I know." "Me too. I will see you next month." "Me too." Su Ying watched the girls depart with a gentle smile on his face. When they left, Tang He fell to the floor with a shocked face. He couldn't believe it. Since when did Su Ying become popular, even causing so many senior apprentice sisters to fall on their knees for him? Su Ying glanced at Tang He and chuckled. "Get used to it, there will be plenty more coming later." "Plenty more?" Tang He rolled his eyes, nearly falling unconscious. He could already sense a storm gathering around this place. After the girls from the medicine hall left, Su Ying locked himself inside his room. He sat cross-legged on his bed, his eyes closed. He took a deep breath through his nose, enjoying the flowery fragrance emitting from the bed. The scent of those 9 girls still lingered, and it smelled like a flower bed with 9 different unique flowers. Besides the lingering fragrance, the bed also emitted faint yin qi. This yin qi came from those 9 girls who had discharged themselves during their climaxes. Su Ying used what little yin qi remained on the bed to cultivate himself. Although laughable when compared to Elder Lan's virgin yin qi, it was still enough to benefit his cultivation base slightly. Meanwhile, Tang He opened the door to another visitor. "Mengjia." Tang He was greeted by his partner at the door. "What's wrong? You seem down," Mengjia said in a worried tone. "I think you should stay away from this place for some time." "What?" Mengjia instantly paled. "Did I do something wrong? Something to upset you?" The way Tang He worded his sentence made it seem like Mengjia had done something to offend him, hence why he wanted her to stay away from him for now. "Eh? No, no, no. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just that this place will get chaotic soon." Tang He corrected himself the instant he realized the misunderstanding. "Chaotic? How? What's happening?" Mengjia couldn't wrap her head around the situation. "Su Ying. I don't know what he's trying to do, but whatever it is, he will get himself in situations I don't dare to imagine." Tang He recalled the bizarre situation this morning. If it continues to happen, then it will only be a matter of time before Su Ying offends someone he cannot afford to offend. "Su Ying? Where is he right now?" "He's inside his room." "Doing what? I have no idea. However, you need to stay away from this place." "Him?" Tang He was anxious for Mengjia, who might fall into Su Ying's hands if she were to experience his massage that caused those 9 girls to go crazy. In this sect, while disciples are not allowed to force another to participate in dual cultivation, there was no such rule that prevents one from stealing another disciple's partner. If it's Su Ying, Tang He believes that he could easily snatch girls away from people as easy as taking candy from a baby. Just thinking about the possibility of Su Ying stealing Mengjia from his grasp made Tang He feel anxious. "Whatever you are worried about, I will make it go away in bed. Come, let's cultivate," said Mengjia as she pulled Tang He into his room, not giving him time to refuse. Su Ying stayed locked inside his room until the sunset arrived. He organized the bed and took a quick bath before heading back out to the training grounds to wait for more customers. Although he is still miles away from reaching 10,000 premium points for the pure yang flower, Su Ying was confident that he will be able to obtain that much in the next few days. A few minutes later, Su Ying arrived at the training grounds. Upon his arrival, Su Ying noticed the large group of beauties standing around where he would normally set up his sign. There were at least 30 figures gathered there, and they all looked as though they were waiting for something, or somebody. Furthermore, the moment Su Ying stepped foot inside the training ground, somebody shouted, "There's Su Ying!" When the group of girls heard the name Su Ying, they all turned to look at him with curiosity on their faces. He's that Su Ying, right? Does he really have such heaven-defying hand techniques? I don't know, but Senior Apprentice Sister Zhuan promised us that she will give each of us 200 premium points if his service does not satisfy us. 10 premium points, right? Hee. Senior Apprentice Sister Zhuan will surely regret making that promise with us after we are done here. The girls approached Su Ying with gleeful expressions. Su Ying, we are all here to experience your techniques. If you cannot satisfy us, then you'd better apologize to Senior Apprentice Sister Zhuan for causing her to lose face for you. Su Ying smiled and said, if I am unable to satisfy even one of you girls, then I will gladly cut off my own hands and feed it to the pigs. Su Ying's confident voice and bold statement alongside his calm expression dumbfounded the girls. Hey! You seem very confident in your own abilities, but I hope you won't regret your words afterward. After the girls accepted his 3 conditions, Su Ying led them to his living quarters. Meanwhile, Tang Hu began freaking out when he noticed the massive group of girls following Su Ying from the windows. How did he gather so many customers in such a short time? He just left the house, too. Tang Hu began moving the furniture to the wall so it would not be too crowded inside the house. He also made sure to put chairs right outside Su Ying's room so they could be reached easily when his customers come out. Afterward, Tang Hu holed himself inside his room, afraid of the mayhem that may soon occur. Upon arriving at the front door, Su Ying said to the girls, because the place is small, I will have at most 10 people inside at once, and the rest will have to wait outside. Although unhappy, the girls did not complain. When Su Ying saw the changes made to the house, he nearly laughed. What a thoughtful guy, he thought. Now, who's first? Su Ying stood by the door to his room with a welcoming smile, his gaze at the beauties in the room. Su Ying opened the door, and his 5th customer staggered out of the room with a dazed expression, seemingly drunk from alcohol. When the girls outside saw her condition, they forcefully swallowed their saliva in shock. This is already the 5th one. Could his technique really be that good? Just looking at the expression on their faces when they come out makes my body heat up for some reason. Who's next? Hurry up. We don't have all day here. Some girls were getting impatient from waiting. Just seeing the blissful expression on those who received Su Ying's massage was enough to make their hearts itch, wishing that it would be their turn already. As for those who had already experienced Su Ying's techniques, some stayed inside the house sitting on the chairs prepared for them, as they are unable to walk, while others were forced to stop and answer questions. How did it feel? It was otherworldly. It felt as though I was drifting along the stars in the starry sky. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was it? Scale? How could I possibly put a scale on it? It was so good I couldn't comprehend it. The place quickly became chaotic. Soon, every person there was itching to experience Su Ying's technique. An hour quickly passed. Su Ying has treated more than 10 customers at this point. However, the line outside his house did not shorten. Instead, it has actually gotten longer than before. Su Ying lifted an eyebrow at the queue outside his house. There was at least another 30 people standing outside. Where did these girls came from? He was positive that he didn't bring them here from the training ground. The only answer he could think of was that these girls came here after learning of this place from his previous customers. I need to do some adjustments. Su Ying halted his service for a few minutes to put up a sign right outside his house. The sign hung above the door to his house, and it read, Su Ying's massage, the only and true path to heaven. 10 premium points for service. After looking at the sign with satisfaction, Su Ying went back to his room to resume service. 24 hours had passed since Su Ying hung the sign outside his house, yet the queue outside his house remained. Ever since the 9 sisters from the medicine hall experienced Su Ying's techniques, they began spreading his name like wildfire throughout the outer court. The people were suspicious at first, but when more and more people began spreading the same words, it became easier for others to believe in Su Ying's services. Some people approached Su Ying for his service out of curiosity and others went for genuine pleasure, and sure enough, every single figure that went into Su Ying's room came out looking anew, as though they have been reborn. And for the next 2 days, Su Ying accepted all sorts of beauty into his room with a welcoming smile with very little rest. Graceful ladies with slim waists and round butts, enchanting women with mature bodies and large breasts, even immature girls that are yet considered adults, they all approached Su Ying to experience his techniques. At one point, his name reached even a few inner court disciples. Very quickly, the outside of Su Ying's house became lively with dozens of customers laughing and joking with each other as they queued up, each talking about their expectations. It looked like the gathering of flowers, making the place look more like a marketplace rather than someone's living quarter. By the 4th day, almost everybody within the outer court has heard of Su Ying and his divine techniques, whether they like it or not. From the animals to the sect elders, they would hear the disciples talk about their experiences with Su Ying whenever they go anywhere outside. Su Ying? That mentally ill outer court disciple? Why is everyone and their mother talking about him as of lately? The unusual situation within the outer court caused the sect elders to pay more attention to Su Ying. However, the more they talked about him, the more puzzling the situation became. How could someone like Su Ying, who was infamous and disliked by many, become so popular within the sect almost out of nowhere? He has nearly all the female disciples talking about him. As for those who have yet to experience his techniques, they will sooner or later talk about him, too. My disciples also talked about him non-stop the other day. They were all giggling like little kids who had just returned from an amusement park. Your disciples, too? My only disciple has been staring at the clouds all day while sighing his name ever since she went to his house 2 days ago. The partners of my disciples have been complaining to me about how they are unable to satisfy the girls with their techniques anymore. Quite a few male disciples have tried to cause trouble at Su Ying's place, but they all ended up getting forced away before they could even reach his doorstep. This is becoming quite problematic, huh? What should we do? Stop his little business? I don't think that would be a good idea. There will definitely be a riot if his business is forced to shut down. Then what should we do? The elders felt infuriated at the situation, but they were truly at loss and did not know how to deal with it. Should we go to the matriarch for a solution? No, we don't need to bother the matriarch over something like this, not yet. We should wait a bit longer and see how this plays out. After some time, the elders finally came to a conclusion. Very well. We will sit back and only watch for now. However, if it gets out of hand, then we will have to intervene. Inside his room, Su Ying glanced at the jade slip in his hands. 5,514 premium points after 4 long days. At this rate, I will die from exhaustion before getting my hands on the pure Yang pill. His arms prickled with pain from soreness, and his fingers were numb. Although he has worked for far longer without rest before, his current mortal body could not withstand the burden of him constantly utilizing his techniques. Su Ying looked outside the window, and there were at least 50 people still in line. After pondering for some time, he decided to go outside to announce a few changes. Due to the high demand, I have decided to change the price from 10 premium points to 100 premium points. Additionally, I will only accept a limit of 25 people per day starting tomorrow. The sudden changes caused many to frown. We have waited out here for over an hour, and you want to suddenly change the price? That's unreasonable. Right? I don't even have 100 premium points. Even if I do, I wouldn't waste it on some massage, no matter how good it may feel." The line quickly shortened with people leaving left and right. Suddenly, someone asked, "Su Yang, since you upped the price, will your service also increase?" Su Yang calmly nodded and said, "Naturally. The time will be increased from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, and I will also guarantee you that your yin qi will see an increase in quality after the service." "What? Our yin qi will see an increase in quality? How is that possible?" The disciples did not believe him. After all, only valuable pills and precious treasures are capable of increasing one's yin or yang qi. If there really exists a technique in this world that could increase the yin or yang qi within one's body, then that person with the technique will definitely be treated like a god. "Whether it is possible or not, you will know after my service," said Su Yang with a nonchalant expression, and he continued, "I apologize for the inconveniences, but I am done for today. Come back tomorrow morning if you want my service." He retrieved the sign and closed the doors, leaving no room for discussion. Many people stood outside his house with a dumbfounded expression. Although they understood that he needed rest after working for so many days without closing once, they still felt anger in their hearts. This Su Yang is really shameless and arrogant. Just because he's good with his hands he thinks that he can do whatever he wants, even being rude to his customers. HMPH. I have wasted my time here, and I will not be coming back. Me, too. Let's go. Many stomped away in anger, and others sighed. Very quickly, Su Ying's house became desolate and silent. However, barely any changes occurred to Su Ying himself, and he went back inside to get some rest, as his days will only get tougher from this point forth. News of Su Ying changing the price for his service from 10 premium points to 100 premium points, including how he will only see at most 25 customers per day, quickly spread. Many people were not happy about the changes, especially those who didn't get the chance to enjoy his service before when it was cheap and affordable, or those who decided to wait until later. However, as for those who have already experienced his technique, they would gladly pay 100 premium points to feel it again. Sadly, they were all forbidden to return for another month. As for the news about Su Yang being able to increase one's yin qi, it was quickly disregarded as something ridiculous and absurd, so nobody bothered to speak of it. The following day after the changes made to his service, the usually long queue outside Su Ying's living quarter was nowhere to be seen. Su Yang was well aware that business would slow down if he increased the price, however, he did not mind and continued to wait patiently. When the sunset arrived, a figure could be seen approaching Su Ying's living quarters. With beautiful black hair extended to her waist, she was tall and beautiful, and her alluring, well-developed figure left behind a trail of herbal fragrance. Su Yang opened a door and greeted the visitor with a smile. "Greetings, Elder Lan." The one who arrived was Elder Lan, who seemed to be in a bad mood. "After all the effort I put into spreading praises about your service, you had to just go and destroy it. What are you scheming now?" Although she was surprised about the changes, Elder Lan did not believe that Su Yang did it with the intention of destroying his hard-earned reputation. "If you are tired, then you could just limit the number of customers you see each day, but what need was there to increase the price by 10-folds? Don't tell me you are blinded by greed? I'll tell you this right now, but there aren't many outer court disciples who can afford to spend 100 premium points on 30 minutes of pleasure, no matter how good it may feel." Su Yang chuckled at her words and said, "Elder Lan, if someone can increase the quality of your yin qi, how much would you be willing to pay that person?" "What?" Elder Lan didn't understand why he asked her that question, but the answer was obvious. "One profound yin pill of the lowest quality already costs 3,000 premium points, yet I am willing to do what the profound yin pill does by increasing one's yin qi for as little as 100 premium points. Now if that isn't a bargain, then I don't know what is." "What? You can increase one's yin qi?" Elder Lan was shocked. How come she hadn't heard anything like that prior to coming here? Su Ying nodded, confirming her doubt. Yin and Yang Qi works similar to one's body. If you can make it feel good, then it will obviously work better. Elder Lan found his reasoning to be a bit absurd, but she didn't say anything. And how are you going to increase their Yin Qi quality? With my hands, of course. Elder Lan rubbed her temples, seemingly stressed. Su Ying, you're a bigger idiot than I thought. I'm an idiot? Su Ying looked dumbfounded by her words. If you can really increase the quality of someone's yin qi, do you realize the danger you are in? If it is known by the sect, then you can forget about seeing the sunlight ever again. But good for you, now you get to touch girls every day until you die. Elder Lan expected despair to appear in Su Ying's eyes, but to her surprise, he was actually smiling. Why are you smiling? Does it look like I am joking with you? The fact that you are not trying to detain me at this moment is making me smile. Su Ying's words dumbfounded Elder Lan, who blushed slightly afterward. Although it does sound very enticing to see you behind bars, I am not the type to treat my own disciples as though they are tools, said Elder Lan, her expression emitting an air of melancholy. Elder Lan's melancholy expression caused images to flash through Su Ying's head. As I thought. They are really similar. He sighed inwardly. Su Ying. I have been wondering. What is the purpose of all this? Why are you doing what you are doing? Elder Lan has been pondering why Su Ying decided to reveal to the sect his heaven-defying hand techniques ever since the day she approached him. From her knowledge and what people say about him, Su Ying was a timid unspineless man who has mental issues and would never do something as bold and as eye-catching as opening up a massage parlor within the outer court. But no matter how hard or long she pondered, she just couldn't wrap her head around Su Ying's schemes. Why I am doing this? That's simple. Su Ying didn't even need to think twice before answering. 1. I need premium points to obtain resources to further my cultivation base. And 2, I wish to repair my tarnished reputation. What? Elder Lan's expression froze for a moment as she tried to comprehend his words. You are doing all this just for some premium points? What are you trying to buy that requires this much resource? The pure yang flower, Su Ying told her without hiding anything, as there wasn't any need to hide anything. The pure yang flower? Why do you need something like that? Even if you manage to obtain one, how will you use it? Your cultivation base is far too inferior to even think about using it to increase your yang qi. Elder Lan didn't expect Su Ying to be aiming for something as powerful and chaotic as the pure yang flower, also known as the red devil flower. Forget about an expert at the true spirit realm such as Elder Lan herself. Even Earth Spirit Realm experts would have trouble consuming the pure yang flower without putting themselves in immediate danger, even directly exploding to death if handled improperly. Naturally, I have my own ways to deal with the pure yang flower. However, that requires me to obtain it first. Elder Lan narrowed her eyes at him. He has his own ways to deal with the pure yang flower? Just how many more secrets does this guy have? HMPH. If you are going to commit suicide, then at least wait until I am fully healed. Elder Lan coldly snorted, anyway, I will be back in 2 days for the treatment. Su Ying smiled calmly and said to her as she walked away, I will increase the intensity for our next meeting, so until then, prepare yourself. Elder Lan nearly stumbled upon hearing Su Ying's tease. Memories she wanted to forget resurfaced, and her face reddened. Her steps hastened, and her figure quickly disappeared from Su Ying's sight. I will get straight to the point. Disciple Su Ying, do you have the capabilities to treat my injury? Inside his room, Su Ying sat on his bed while Elder Lan stood in front of him with her gaze staring daggers at him. Injury? You are not injured. You. Elder Lan's expression froze at his words. What did he mean by that? She's clearly injured and he's well aware of it. What do you mean by that? she asked. The pain in your rear is not an injury but an illness, a condition of sorts. Su Ying said in a nonchalant tone. What did you say? An illness? How is that possible? I have never been sick once in my entire life, yet you are telling me that I have an illness? Elder Lan, your existence in this sect is a rare one. I almost didn't believe it when I first saw you. What do you mean by that? Elder Lan frowned. Su Ying stood up from the bed and approached her. Elder Lan didn't move and stared at him with a serious expression, wondering what he was up to. Suddenly, Su Ying brought his face closer to hers, and he took a deep breath through his nose, almost like a dog sniffing a scent. What do you think you are doing? Elder Lan took a few hasty steps back, her face reddening from his unexpected actions. Are you looking to die? As I thought, you are still pure with your chastity intact, a pure maiden. Su Ying smiled. What? How did you? His words caused Elder Lan to tremble, and her eyes widened from shock. How could he possibly know that she is still a virgin? Did Chiyu run her mouth to him? It would be hard enough to find someone within this sect to have a pure body at my age, let alone a sect elder such as yourself, Elder Lan. Su Ying sat back down on the bed, his gaze sharpened. You have cultivated a technique meant for dual cultivators, yet you remain as a pure maiden to this day. You are simply courting death. Elder Lan also became serious after hearing his words. Tell me more, she said. Dual cultivation is when a man and woman indulge in sexual intercourse by using the yin within the woman and the yang within the man to cultivate. This I'm sure you are familiar with. Yet you cultivate normally using a technique meant for dual cultivation. Of course, there will obviously be side effects. The yin within your body is currently unstable. If you continue going down this route, then you will only experience even greater pain, eventually falling apart and dying an early death. The more Elder Lan listened to Su Ying's explanation, the deeper her frown got. Could her cultivation method really be the reason that she's in so much pain? And you are supposed to be a sect elder who guides her disciples? How laughable. Su Ying snorted coldly. You! Anger flashed across Elder Lan's eyes, but she didn't say anything, she couldn't. If what he said was true, then she can only blame herself for being too prideful. If what you are saying is true, then what are you suggesting? That I should hurry up and go spread my legs for a man? Su Ying stared at the quivering light in her eyes for a moment. He then shook his head and said, well, that would be the most efficient and quickest way to balance your yin. I have another method that does not require you to spread anything. However, I am only willing to do it if you accept 3 conditions. Elder Lan turned silent, her gaze still with hesitation. What are these conditions? She asked. Su Ying lifted his fingers one by one and said, 1. You will be here once a week for the next 3 months for treatment. 2. You will not speak of whatever happens in this room to anyone, not even your seniors. And lastly, you are to be my sponsor for this service and advertise for me. What? You want me to advertise for you, an outer court disciple? You must be out of your mind. I am a sect elder. I am still too young to throw my face around like candy. I refuse. Elder Lan crossed her arms, looking adamant on her decision. Is that so? Then, good luck to you, Elder Lan. I have already given you the answer you seek for treatment. If there is nothing else you need, please leave. And don't forget to close the door after yourself. Su Ying laid on the bed and closed his eyes as though he wanted to take a nap. Elder Lan could only stand there with a bewildered expression, her body trembling from anger. Not once since she became a sect elder 10 years ago had she experienced such disregard and disgrace from anyone, let alone a mere outer court disciple. Not once, until she met Su Ying. Su Ying. How dare you talk to a sect elder with such a disrespectful tone? I have tolerated your attitude for far too long. I will have you expelled from this sect by tomorrow. However, Despite her loud voice filled with anger, despite being threatened with expulsion from the sect, Su Ying remained unmoving on his bed with a comfortable expression on his face, almost as if none of her words had entered his ears. Su Ying. Elder Lan growled his name in a low voice. I will remember this. Just as she was prepared to storm out of his room, an excruciating pain appeared in her buttocks, causing her to fall on her knees. Why now? She cursed inwardly. It was at this moment Su Ying opened his eyes, and Elder Lan's round rear was the first and only thing he could see. After struggling on the ground for half a minute, Elder Lan finally gave up. Su Ying. I accept your conditions. Just help me. Please. She said in a crying voice, tears falling off the corners of her closed eyes. Su Ying sighed as he rolled his sleeves. Very well. Stick your butt towards my way and don't move.